Hello guys, it is Brittany here. Welcome back to my Colorguard YouTube channel. If you're here clicking on this video, I'm going to assume that you're a fabulous first year and that you've been watching all of my other videos that are in this playlist. If you have not seen all of the other videos, specifically ones like 27 points or pole flips, I highly encourage you do that first, or else this video won't make much sense, because those kind of give you the building blocks of what I'm going to be talking about today, which is singles, which is your first ever kind of real or standard toss that you'll be doing in Colorguard, and is used everywhere at any time, and it's your kind of your second step into the world of tossing. Okay, let's get started. All right, so first things first, whenever it comes to any kind of toss, we need to talk about what our hands are doing before, during, and after, because those are kind of the most important things. Without your hands and your arms, you can't really do much of this whole tossing thing. So let's start out with what our arms do first. First things first is you want your flag on your right side. This is my right side, my flag's right here. Your right hand is going to be palm up to the sky, and it's going to be what I call about a dollar bill into the silk, kind of like if you had a dollar bill, it'd be about the length of that. If you don't really know that, think about half a foot basically. So biggest rule, never toss from your tab when you're doing singles, because you are not going to get a technique well done signal from here ever. Okay, so half a foot in, your fingertips are going to be touching this seam right here that keeps your flag on the pole. So you're not going to be over it or kind of, I don't know how else you do it, but you need to be on the silk. Your left hand is going to be splitting your two tapes. If you don't have two tapes, just think about going from here to here. I want it to be about halfway. Okay, so we have that. We hold our flag, it's going to be at a nice tight seatbelt angle. What that means is this pole will be going from the inside of my left shoulder to the inside of my right hip. We want it to be nice and steep, because you can't toss like this, or like this, or like this, so it needs to be right in between all those angles. Okay, so first, double check that you're here. Next part is you want to make sure we have what I call box arms, is you don't want to ever toss your flag like this. You're not going to have any strength in that toss at all. It's probably not going to go even up in the air. So you want to think about making your arm kind of like a box corner, nice and strong and stiff, and grab it like that. Notice how my elbow is making a nice little line, and then same thing with this elbow coming straight out of my hip. Okay, so that is step number one. So remember, step number one is where your arms go and how your hands look. Now step two, we have to learn how to toss this thing. So your left hand is going to push straight down towards the ground. So your left hand on pretty much all flag tosses will be your push hand. So that's step number two. Left hand is your push hand. So my left hand is going to push straight down to the ground. It is going to be at my hip. I don't know if you guys can see that. Left hand is all the way down at my hip. Your hand, once it hits your hip, it should not move until you're catching your flag. That's another tip for later. So we're going to start here, nice and high, seatbelt angle, push straight down. Now my right hand is going to lift the flag. Okay, so now we have our push and our lift. Remember what I said earlier with our pole flip tutorial, how you release things at an upper 45-degree angle? Well, guess what? You do on this one too. It's a very handy dandy rule, I promise. So once this pushes down to your hip, this one will lift up to the upper 45 on my right side. Okay, so you want to go push, lift. One leads into the other. You can't have a toss and not have both of these things. Basically, kind of a rule of thumb is you want to think about your left hand as your gas pedal and your right hand as your steering wheel, like you have in a car. If you don't have the proper amount of gas and you don't steer the right direction, you're going to crash, aka your flag's going to drop. So you want to think about giving it enough gas and lifting at just the right angle, the upper 45, so your flag can rotate completely around once. Next, I'm going to show you guys what your hands look during the toss, because remember, we always want to think about before, during, and after. So what we do, let's pretend I have an air flag here. I'm holding my flag, I push, I lift. Now this is what it'll look like underneath my toss. While my flag is rotating, it's the hardest thing to fight. Trust me, it takes a lot of the kids I teach years, it even took me years, to think about once you release your flag, you can't automatically try to snatch it out of the air, because then your flag will rotate all the way around, and that's not what we want. So you want to be here, push straight down, lift straight up. Then you want to hold, hold, hold as long as you can, and right before that flag hits the ground and it's at the right angle, you move in for the grab. So I'm here, my left hand will grab the pole, my left hand will come over on top of the silk, and that's how we'll stop our flag. So now that we know what we're doing during and after, let's put it all together. So our singles will be roughly about 3 counts. So we'll have our typical, kind of warm up beforehand, our 5, 6, 7, 8, so our prep, and then we'll toss it right on 1. So kind of that push is your immediate reaction. You want to release right on 1. Don't release early, don't release on 8. Okay, so we have 5 and 6 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. Notice that my arms stayed in this position, left down, right up, until my flag came down. I caught left hand now underneath my flag instead of over, and this hand caught over instead of under as well. Okay? I'll show you that one more time, and then we'll kind of show you how to do it in a row to kind of practice tossing. So we're here once again. Remember, do your mental checklist every time you toss. Are your hands in the right place? Is your right hand about a half a foot away from the tab? Is your left hand splitting the tapes? Are you having a nice strong posture? And then we can go. 5 and 6 and 5, 6, 7, 8, push out, 2, 3. Okay? You want to make sure that whenever you're tossing, your goal is to almost think of your arms are like glued to this position, and the second they come down, you snap it there. One thing you can use for reference, if you need to, if it gets confusing trying to watch the flag, seeing where to stick your hands in, you can always use this silk. It's huge. It'll be a very big indicator of where your flag is. So you want to think, I start at this angle, flag down, it's going to rotate, a full rotation, back down, except my hands will be reversed. Okay? Now we're going to go into kind of a mini exercise, if you will, to teach you how to do singles consecutively, so you can also practice how to get better at them. So let's do that. So to be able to do consecutive singles, it's actually very, very simple. So we're going to start, of course, in our single position, making sure we're going through our mental checklist. Are my arms boxed out? Are my hands in the right position? And make sure we're at our seatbelt angle. Once we're here, we'll toss a single. So we'll go 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, toss 1, 2, 3. So then we caught. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, switch bottom hand. So now it's over, we need to go under. And then we're gonna switch top hand over. So that way, look, we're already back at our single position, nice and easy. And now I can throw number 2, and then I can switch, number 3, and switch, 4, switch, last one, switch, and stop. Okay, so I kind of went through that quickly. We're going to do it one more time with counts without stopping in between. If you are not comfortable doing consecutive singles, don't do them. This is more if like you kind of already got the handle of the concept, but you want exercise to go along with it. Number one thing with singles and kind of testing what I call your successful percentage is you want to think about every single you do is kind of worth like 20 points. So if you add it up, you do 5 singles, that should be like 100%. So you want to think, if I can only do 1 single out of 5 successfully, then I have about a 20% success rate. So that's kind of your starting point, and then you can see how you build from there. So a week from now, you can do it again, do 5 consecutive singles, and see if now you're at 40 or 60 or 80 or 100%. So it's a really awesome tool to use to see your progress. And I'd highly suggest that once you get your first single, try to do them consecutively, and it will really help you get better quicker. So let's do the exercise one time through without stopping, and that'll be all for today.
Little flag.
And 5 and 6 and 5 and 6 and 5, 6, 7, 8. Release 1, 2, 3. Switch bottom, switch top. 2, 3. Bottom, top. 3. Bottom, top. 4. Bottom, top. 5. Bottom, stop. Alrighty guys, that is all I have for you today. This concludes my singles video. I will reiterate some things that I said throughout the video to kind of help you on your singles journey. Number one thing that I've said throughout other videos is, especially if this is your first year of Colorguard, do not be hard on yourself. Tossing is one of those things that takes the longest to learn, no matter what piece of equipment you're on, no matter, if it's your first or second year, it's on a different piece of equipment, it's going to be hard, no matter what you do. That's just the first fact, throwing it out there. Second thing is to make sure just get the thing out of your hands. I can assure you, every single Colorguard member, the first time they tried a single, it hit the floor. Okay, so it's not you, you're not bad, it's just new, and it's gonna happen. So those are just, some kind of mental pointers. Some pointers for our flags is always go through your mental checklist before you toss anything. Hands should be in the right place. Your seatbelt angle should always be nice and tight. You should have a nice solid grip on your flag. And then once you have that done, check, boom, move on to the next part. Make sure you have a solid push. Your push should go all the way down to your fingertips, should be pointing towards the floor. If you haven't pushed all the way down, you stop like at your hip, your flag's not gonna go all the way around. I'll already tell you that now. So push from here straight down to the ground, as if you're trying to hit like a button that's on the floor or something, okay? Push. And this has to lift up, and you're gonna release at your upper 45. If you release straight up, it's gonna go this way. If you're gonna release down here, it's gonna go that way. So hit that magic little sweet spot and you'll have a much better success rate, I promise. Once you get your first single, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do your singles in succession or consecutively. That's a good way to test your progress throughout the weeks. And you can literally see yourself getting better with numbers. It's pretty cool. That's all I have for you guys today. Remember, questions, comments, concerns, go down in the comment section. Of course, I always want to see videos of you doing this. Sorry, words are hard. That's pretty much all I have. So, bye guys.